Alright, today I wanted to go over some common mistakes that people make while they are playing Full Bullet. The first mistake I would like to mention is arguably probably the one I struggled with the most in getting it out of my muscle memory. And that mistake is gamma into gamma, but like you doing the jumps. For example, doing this right here is like a gamma jump. But doing something like this will almost never be worth it because the chances that gamma actually hits your opponent are super low. If you are out of beta charges and you can't do gamma into beta, then simply just go for a gamma and shoot alphas. Do not go for gamma over your opponent into another gamma because it will almost never work and just leave you very vulnerable to attacks after because your mobility charges will both be gone. Now, there's another thing with gamma that I would think is worth mentioning, is don't use it on flat planes like this without a plan. For example, just going forward like this is, I'm pretty sure that's just slower than just plain running. If it's not slower, it's only slightly faster and not worth the time save that you get. If you're going to be using gammas, have a plan for where that gamma will end. For example, using gamma to get into the air and then pelt down alphas, that's value. That's good value from your gamma. That makes perfect sense. Using gamma to go up and use a beta makes perfect sense. But if you're trying to escape somebody, do not just do this. Because you're just simply wasting your gamma charges and leaving yourself vulnerable in the air. This is a really big one I see people doing on all devices. And if you are going for a gamma, your plan should be something like this. Go up onto somewhere high and either heal or jump off that place so you can go up somewhere else. That should be your main use cases of gamma in defensive situations. If you're in a flat plane and you have no way of making use of the effects of like its movement like upwards, then do this. Throw down a gamma and run. I know it's not great at blocking stuff, but it will at least hide where you went, and a lot of people don't expect you to just place down gamma. This has been a pretty rare tactic since Full Bullet came out. So most people will expect you to go up like this whenever you do that turnaround gamma. But if you're just running away from them and then you just did that and kept running, not a lot of people expect that, and you can use that to your advantage to try and escape on flat planes by like say hopping off the edge right here and finding a bush. But just do not go for gamma into gamma unless you have a dedicated plan for what that is going to be doing. Like doing this, hitting some alphas, and then doing another one. I would obviously, I wouldn't recommend this because you're once again leaving yourself vulnerable, but this is a lot better than just this. Because that provides you very little value for your gammas, and you cannot afford that. Alright, another thing that I notice a lot of newbie Full Bullets not doing is jump gamma. Whenever you do grounded gamma, there's a startup animation that admittedly isn't too long, but getting hit out of this animation isn't too hard to do. Instead, try jumping and using gamma either at the end of your jump, which it does take longer, but it leaves you more mobile at all times, making shots harder to hit on you, or simply just doing a quick hop into a gamma, as this does save a little bit of time. Admittedly, this is likely not to save your life very often, but getting into this habit can be a great way to help with your survivability. Another thing, this is the last thing I would say I want to mention, is beta. Pick your targets that you use beta wisely. For example, All From One, his own beta and his gamma both can be very good at disrupting you for going into a beta like this because of the lack of armor. There are other characters that are also really good at disrupting your beta activations. This is largely characters with armors, like Mount Lady's beta is really good at it. All Might's beta is also pretty good at it. Deku beta is also good at it. There are a lot of moves in this game that are very good at like preventing your beta from connecting because they will hit you out of it. Keep that in mind when you are facing certain targets. Some targets are worse about it than others, like Kirishima for example, because the only real options Kirishima has in a lot of scenarios is to use one of his giant disjointed armor moves, and all of them will easily overpower your beta and your gamma by hitting through your gamma. As such, when you're fighting Kirishima, you should not go in close unless you are attempting to get the final hit on the opponent and trying to predict their wake up, or you are willing to accept that there's a chance that you eat a large punish from the Kirishima after, as Kirishima is one of like the best characters at preventing your beta from working. So your goal here should just be alphas.
I won't give up.
Just keep like that in mind, that some characters are going to have an incredibly easy time interrupting your beta while others won't. For example, Todoroki's beta that he has, like his beta and his gamma, can both interrupt it, but both of them require fairly specific timing to do so. And if you notice that they're going for a beta, you can cancel it into like a gamma before it hits, before you get hit by it. And it does make Todoroki not too like good of a matchup for Todo. Like Todo definitely like does not like this because he struggles to get full bullet off of him in my personal experience, and full bullet also just goes above him. But then there are other characters like Rapid Bakugo, who simply using his gamma will prevent your stuff from connecting.
I won't let you. Not yet. Let's win this.
Yeah, he will jump out of the way of it unless you hit the heel, or even worse, he hits you with it, which of course is something you don't want to happen.
Hold on. Not yet.
So you either need to time your betas properly against these characters, or only go for it when they are not looking at you. Simply going for a beta directly in front of a character who has a very easy ability to prevent it. For example, Ida as well is also really good at it, because his alpha and his beta both prevent your beta from working very well. Going for betas against these characters is very risky, because they will almost always hit you out of it or punish you after the beta ends. It's very unlikely that you actually are able to manage to hit the beta on them. They will almost always hit you out of it. Unless you do gamma up into beta down. Like if you did this, this is different. Doing that move, it's a lot harder for a lot of opponents to hit you out of it, as you're like above them. And so like characters like Kirishima will have to aim their punch upwards in order to hit you out of it, and they'll have to like jump and punch up to hit you out. Same with Ida, like he'll have to look up and use his alpha to hit you out of it. And a lot of the time when you're coming from above like that, it's unexpected.
Breaking through.
If they are expecting you though, don't be surprised if they hit you out of your beta in that case too. But if they hit you out of that beta, it will often result in you getting a stacked beta, so keep that in mind. I don't encourage using the stacked beta, but if somebody hits you with it and you don't have the time to burn your beta, then it just kind of is what it is, and it's just the game's fault. But yeah, pick your beta targets wisely. Make sure that you're not like just throwing out betas willy-nilly, because you will get interrupted heavily for it and take large amounts of damage for simply just trying to spam it. Against these characters who are good at like preventing your beta, I highly suggest using gamma up into the air and then just alpha spamming, or like coming down with a beta depending on what character you are dealing with. But going just raw beta against a character like Momo, Kiri, or Ida will almost always never work unless the opponent is just bad. Now, if they're obviously not paying attention to you, hit them with that beta. Hit them with it. I mean, it's a huge punish. Just don't like start spamming it willy-nilly in like one-on-one situations, because they will often hit you out of it, and then like punish you very heavily for it. Alright, that's all I want to say for some common issues that full bullet players I've run into have. Just be aware of how to like make your proper use of your gammas when you would like use your gamma, and make sure you're not just spamming beta willy-nilly into the characters that are hard focusing you, as it will very often lead to situations that don't work very well and get you in a lot of trouble.